She said no. She lost interest. She walked away, and now your mind is replaying every moment, wondering what went wrong. But what if rejection isn't a punishment? What if it's protection? Because sometimes the best thing that can ever happen to you is someone rejecting you, so stop chasing closure, stop explaining yourself, and just disappear. Number 1, rejection isn't loss, it's redirection. Rejection often feels like a sharp, personal blow to the heart. It bruises the ego, shakes your confidence, and makes you question what you did wrong. But in truth, rejection is rarely about your worth. It's about alignment. Sometimes life removes certain people, situations, or opportunities, not to punish you, but to protect you from something that would have delayed or distracted your growth. What you see as a closed door might actually be a divine detour leading you to something more fitting for who you are becoming. Every time you experience rejection, it's life whispering that this path is not yours anymore, that you've outgrown the space you're trying so hard to stay in. The pain you feel after being rejected isn't because you lost someone, it's because you lost the illusion of control. You thought you could make it work if you tried harder, loved deeper, or gave more. But rejection shows you that love, validation, and acceptance can never be forced. It's the universe's way of teaching you surrender. When someone rejects you, it doesn't mean you weren't enough. It means they couldn't meet you at the level you were ready to give. It's not always about fault or failure. Sometimes it's just timing. Sometimes it's that your journey demands more than that connection could offer. When you shift your mindset from loss to redirection, everything changes. You stop chasing explanations and start trusting transitions. You begin to see rejection as an invitation to evolve rather than a reason to break down. Instead of asking, "Why didn't it work out?" you begin to ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" That simple shift takes you from victimhood to awareness. You start realizing that rejection is not a dead end, it's a reroute. Maybe that person's absence will push you to rediscover your own voice. Maybe their distance will give you the silence you need to finally hear your intuition. Whatever the reason, rejection moves you closer to what's meant for you, even when you can't see it yet. The moments when someone turns you down, walks away, or stops choosing you are the same moments that create space for your growth. Without rejection, we'd never be pushed to evolve, to redefine ourselves, or to demand better. It's in those moments of loss that your real direction begins to reveal itself. Life doesn't take without giving, it replaces. The problem is that we cling to what's familiar, even when it's hurting us. We chase validation from those who have already shown us they can't offer it. Rejection cuts that attachment. It reminds you that not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay. Some are just meant to teach you how to let go, how to choose yourself, and how to trust that what's removed is never truly lost. It's just clearing the way for something more aligned with who you're becoming. Number 2, disappearing is power, not pettiness. There comes a moment when your silence speaks louder than your words, when your absence carries more weight than your presence ever did. Disappearing is not about playing games or making someone miss you. It's about reclaiming your power by no longer participating in something that drains your energy or disrespects your worth. When you choose to disappear, you are not being petty, you are protecting your peace. You're drawing a line that says, "I will not chase where I'm not valued." It's the quiet decision to stop arguing with actions that have already revealed the truth. Because sometimes walking away gracefully is the only way to remind yourself that your energy is sacred and not everyone deserves access to it. In relationships, people often confuse silence with weakness. They believe that if you stop reaching out or stop fighting for attention, it means you don't care. But real strength isn't found in chasing validation. It's found in emotional discipline. It's easy to react, to send that text, to beg for clarity, or to prove your side of the story. It takes far more strength to say nothing, to step back, and to let time reveal what words cannot. Disappearing isn't manipulation, it's maturity. It's understanding that not everything deserves your response. When you withhold your energy, you stop feeding the cycle that keeps you emotionally trapped. You stop bleeding for someone who keeps reopening the same wound. The act of disappearing teaches you the power of detachment. When you walk away without drama, you shift the dynamic instantly. The same person who once took your presence for granted begins to feel the weight of your silence. But the real transformation happens within you. You begin to notice how peaceful it feels when you no longer beg for understanding. You realize how calm your mind becomes when you're not waiting for someone to text back or apologize. That's when you understand that your peace is not found in fixing things with others, but in staying loyal to yourself. Disappearing helps you see how much of your energy was being spent on people who didn't reciprocate, how much time you wasted explaining your value instead of embodying it. When you choose to disappear, you're not abandoning anyone. You're returning to yourself. You stop chasing closure and start finding it within. You learn that not every connection deserves a farewell speech or a final conversation. Some things end quietly, and that's okay. Your silence is not coldness, it's self-respect. You don't need to prove that you're over it. You don't need to announce your withdrawal. Real power doesn't shout, it simply leaves. It walks away without bitterness, without resentment, without the need to be seen as right. Because the one who truly holds power doesn't need validation from others. They know that disappearing isn't a reaction. It's a declaration that peace will always matter more than attention. Number 3. Rejection reveals self-perception. Rejection has a way of exposing how you truly see yourself. It strips away the mask of confidence you wear and shows the depth of your emotional foundation. When someone rejects you, it isn't just about losing a person. It's about confronting the reflection they leave behind. The way you react reveals whether your self-worth was ever truly your own or if it was dependent on how others treated you. Many people think rejection hurts because of love. But in reality, it hurts because it challenges your identity. It forces you to ask yourself, who am I when I'm not being chosen? That question separates those who know their value from those who are still searching for it in someone else's validation. The truth is, rejection doesn't define you. It exposes you. It brings to light your hidden insecurities, the parts of you that still crave approval, and the wounds that were never healed. When someone walks away, the pain you feel often comes from an old place inside you that believed being chosen equaled being worthy. You start questioning your appearance, your worth, your effort. But rejection doesn't mean you lack value. It just mirrors how you measure it. If you base your self-esteem on someone's acceptance, then rejection will always break you. But if your sense of worth comes from within, rejection can't touch you. It may sting, but it won't shake your core. Every time you face rejection, you're given a mirror. Some people use it to criticize themselves, to see only what's wrong. Others use it to awaken. They see rejection as a signal to build emotional strength and redefine what they believe about themselves. If your first instinct after being rejected is to prove your worth to that person, you're still tied to external validation. But when you can face rejection calmly and say, I still choose me, you've reached emotional maturity. You've learned that your value doesn't increase because someone wants you, and it doesn't decrease because someone doesn't. It simply remains constant. Rejection becomes a teacher when you allow it to be. It teaches self-awareness, boundaries, and emotional independence. It shows you where your sense of identity still relies on external approval. It challenges you to build inner strength so solid that no amount of dismissal can dismantle it. You start realizing that you can be complete on your own, that love from others is a blessing but not a requirement for peace. Once you understand that, rejection no longer feels personal. It feels revealing. You see it as feedback from the universe, showing you where to grow, what to heal, and how to stop attaching your worth to people who don't see it. It becomes less about who walked away and more about what version of you was exposed in the process. Because every rejection doesn't destroy you, it introduces you to the parts of yourself that still need your own acceptance. Number 4, space creates clarity. When emotions run high, the truth gets blurry. We confuse love with attachment, effort with obsession, and presence with connection. In the middle of it all, space becomes the only thing that can bring perspective. Space is not distance for the sake of punishment. It's distance for the sake of peace. When you step back from someone or something, you allow silence to do what words never could. You stop trying to fix, prove, or persuade, and you start seeing things for what they really are. Without space, you stay trapped in emotional noise, reacting instead of reflecting. But the moment you create distance, the fog begins to lift. The chaos settles. You begin to see not only who they are, but who you've become while trying to keep them close. In relationships, space reveals the truth that emotions often hide. When you're constantly around someone, it's easy to overlook patterns and justify behavior. You convince yourself that things will change, or that love can heal what consistency cannot. But when you create space, your emotional attachment loosens and logic begins to return. You start noticing what you were tolerating in the name of connection. You see how much you gave, how little you received, and how tired your soul became from trying to maintain something that wasn't growing. Space gives you the clarity to see love for what it is, not what you wish it could be. It's the mirror that shows you whether it was real connection or just emotional dependency disguised as love. Clarity doesn't come when you're arguing, explaining, or convincing someone to understand your worth. It comes when you stop talking altogether. It comes in the quiet moments when you're alone with your thoughts, when you realize that silence can be healing rather than lonely. In that silence, you begin to reconnect with your intuition, the voice that gets drowned out by constant emotional noise. That's when you start remembering what you truly deserve, what peace feels like, and what your boundaries should have been all along. Space allows you to come back to yourself. It helps you detach from the emotional roller coaster long enough to see the truth without bias, without fear, without the filter of hope that kept you stuck. When you give space, it's not always about walking away forever. Sometimes it's about giving reality a chance to reveal itself. Space shows you who reaches out and who forgets, who respects your absence and who replaces it. It teaches you that love that needs constant convincing isn't love, it's dependence. True connection doesn't fade when space is created, it deepens. It thrives in understanding and respect. But unhealthy attachments collapse because they were only sustained by proximity, not by depth. Space is where truth breathes. It exposes illusions, clarifies intentions, and strengthens your sense of self. And once you experience that kind of clarity, you stop chasing noise and start valuing peace, realizing that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply step back and watch what remains. Number 5, level up in silence. There's a certain kind of power in choosing silence when the world expects noise. When you've been hurt, rejected, or underestimated, the instinct is to prove yourself, to show everyone who doubted you that they were wrong. But real transformation doesn't need an audience. The most powerful growth happens in silence, behind closed doors, where no one is watching, judging, or applauding. Leveling up in silence isn't about secrecy, it's about focus. It's about conserving your energy and channeling it into your own evolution instead of wasting it on trying to convince people of your worth. Because when you truly begin to transform, you realize that explanations are unnecessary. People will see it when they're meant to see it. Until then, your silence is your strategy. Growth requires stillness. When you stop trying to prove and start working on yourself quietly, you begin to see how much energy you use to waste on being understood. You start valuing your peace more than attention. You stop needing validation because your self-worth begins to come from your progress, not from praise. Silence becomes your protection. It shields your process from unnecessary interference. It keeps your dreams safe from the opinions of those who can't see your vision. When you level up in silence, you give yourself the freedom to fail, to restart, and to grow without judgment. That's how real change happens. Not when everyone is watching, but when no one is, and you still choose to keep going. The beauty of silent progress is that it humbles you and strengthens you at the same time. You start realizing that the reward isn't in proving people wrong, it's in proving yourself right. It's in waking up every day and doing the work that no one claps for. The workouts, the late nights, the discipline, the healing, it all happens quietly. You won't get instant recognition, but that's what makes it sacred. Because when you finally rise, it won't be by accident. It will be the result of every silent battle you fought. Every time you chose consistency over comfort, every time you kept going when no one believed in you. That kind of growth builds character. It makes you grounded, not arrogant. It makes your success speak volumes without needing a single word. When you level up in silence, you also protect your peace from external distractions. You stop engaging in unnecessary conversations, arguments, or comparisons. You realize that not everyone deserves to know your next move. Some people only want access to your energy, not your evolution. Keeping your journey private gives you power. It allows you to build in peace and reveal in strength. The ones who left, doubted, or disrespected you will eventually see the transformation. And by then, you won't need to say a thing. Your results will do all the talking. Silence, when used with intention, isn't emptiness. It's discipline. It's self-control in its highest form, the kind that doesn't react, doesn't chase, and doesn't need to announce. It simply grows, glows, and keeps moving forward with quiet confidence. Number 6, detachment is freedom. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop allowing your emotions to control you. It's the art of loving deeply without losing yourself in the process. When you learn to detach, you no longer beg for attention, chase validation, or try to force outcomes that aren't meant for you. You begin to see things for what they are instead of what you want them to be. Detachment frees you from emotional chaos because it allows you to accept reality as it is, not as your heart wishes it was. It's the quiet realization that peace is better than constant uncertainty, that no amount of attachment is worth losing your inner balance. Detachment is not coldness, it's clarity. It's choosing to stay calm when everything around you is trying to pull you back into confusion. The reason so many people struggle with detachment is because they confuse it with indifference. They think it means you stop feeling, but it's the opposite. Detachment allows you to feel everything: love, pain, disappointment, but without drowning in it. It's emotional maturity. It's saying, I care, but I won't lose myself caring. You can love someone and still walk away when the connection becomes unhealthy. You can want something and still accept that it's not the right time. Detachment is emotional discipline. It teaches you to give without expectation, to trust without obsession, and to let go without resentment. The freedom it brings is not about being numb, it's about being centered. It's when your peace no longer depends on how someone treats you, how they feel about you, or whether they choose you. When you start practicing detachment, you begin to see how much of your pain came from resistance. You were fighting to control things you were never meant to control: people's choices, outcomes, timing. You kept holding on, thinking your effort could change their mind. But detachment teaches you surrender. It reminds you that love cannot be forced, and alignment cannot be begged for. When you stop holding on so tightly, you make space for life to unfold naturally. You allow what's meant for you to flow in and what's not meant for you to fade out. You stop chasing closure and start trusting divine timing. That's when peace begins to replace anxiety. That's when you realize that nothing truly yours will ever require you to beg or break yourself to keep it. True detachment shifts your entire energy. You start showing up from a place of strength, not desperation. You no longer seek validation through attachment because you've found security within yourself. You can love someone and still respect their distance. You can give your all and still know when it's time to stop. Detachment gives you the ability to walk away gracefully, without anger or bitterness, simply because you've learned to choose yourself. It's freedom from the emotional roller coaster that comes from needing others to complete you. When you master detachment, you master peace. You realize that love is not about clinging. It's about allowing. It's not about control. It's about trust. And it's not about holding on. It's about knowing when to let go. So when life rejects you, don't chase what walked away. Don't explain, don't prove, don't beg to be understood. Just disappear, grow, and return stronger. Every rejection, every silence, every ending is shaping you into someone more grounded, more focused, and more free. Remember, peace isn't found in being chosen. It's found in choosing yourself.